Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2019 Career Mode, episode number 71. We're in the middle of Santos Tour Down Under, first race of the season. It has been requested, and I'm happy to oblige. Here are the top riders on the teams throughout the World Tour for this season. So Bardet, this is AG2R at this point. Bardet, Latour, still there. Oliver Nassen with them. Cosnefroy, Galopin, Genius are their top riders. So 4 of those top 6 guys are climbers. You can figure that they're going to be GC contenders. However, time trial wise, they don't really have it there. So they will contend GC races that do not have time trials in them, I would expect. Astana, Jakob Fuglsang, Enric Mas are definitely their top guys, but Lutsenko there as well. That's a good trio at the start. Magnus Cort Nielsen, Jan Hurt, and quite a few 74s in there, and all of them, down to Wouter Wippert as their sprinter, all of them are pretty good climbers, other than Cort Nielsen, I suppose. Cort Nielsen's more breakaway, cobble, classics rider, a little bit of a do-it-all, but yeah, Barrador, high ranking, stamina, high ranking, cobble, okay. But the majority of those guys are absolutely climbers, both mountains and hills, all of them. Pretty balanced in that area. None of them are tremendous time trialists, though they won't lose a ton of time there. And of course, Lutsenko, with his cobble rating, also adds to their classics ability. So you got to figure they are definitely in it for mostly GC without time trial. Bahrain Merida, 3 78s and a 77. Lopez, Van Aert, Simon Yates, Sonny Colbrelli, Matteo Caruso, and Nicola Conchi, and then Garcia Cortina. They are spread out all over the place. I mean, you've got classics champion Van Aert. You've got sprint champion Colbrelli. Not that he's one of the best, but he's certainly up the list. Garcia Cortina. These guys are going to help out in that area. But then, Bahrain Merida, it's kind of that mixed bag. They've just got enough quality talent. Look, these are 75s all the way down to Walscheid. This is a team that's going to compete in so many different areas, so many different regards. Lopez, Yates, Conchi, top climbers. I mean, Conchi now is an 80 in the mountains. He has really, really improved. Bora Hansgrohe, Groenewegen, top rider, sprinter. Sam Bennett is there as well. Wow, holy cow, those guys are going to win a ton of sprints. Michael Matthews, Bora Hansgrohe, sprint team. That's your team right there. There's your team profile. They are punchers a little bit as well. They've got some balance there, and some time trialists, of course, one of the best in Rowan Dennis, Max Schachmann there, so they could do pretty well in some team time trials. Their top 5 guys, especially. That's us. You can see just how much that drop-off is, right? We have 4 riders that are 76 or better. Nothing above that 74, and even only 2 riders there. So just looking at that profile, looking at what we have, we've got plenty of mid, upper 70s, but that's where we draw that line, right? So from everybody we've seen to us, we shouldn't be competing with them. We really shouldn't. I mean, Evenepoel, only good climber. Nobody, technically, is there yet as a puncher. Evenepoel, time trial. Nobody else is quite there. Peterson, okay, 76. I think that's about the minimum we've been looking at. Cobble, okay, yeah. Van Barle, Peterson, Ooms, right? We'll be fairly competitive there. And then the sprint, Philipsen, he's it. We should not be competitive as a team, but last year, despite that, we still managed to compete. Kind of quick step, Alaphilippe, Superman. Even though he's not the guy nicknamed Superman, it's still you look at it and there he is. Lopez, right? Lopez, Superman nickname? Sure. Let me know if I'm wrong. I think it's Lopez. Pascal Ackerman, sprinter. Lampard, the long classics. Gaviria, sprinter. So that's going to make them pretty good there. Viviani, Jakobsen. Holy cow. Okay, this is a sprint team. Taconic Quickstep is now a sprint team. They've got Adam Yates all alone for GC. He's not going to have much support. It's going to be difficult for him to get too many results. And then Alaphilippe for Punchy. EF Education First, looking a bit like us, aren't they? Degenkolb, Van Mark, Valgren, Langfeld, Martinez, and Uran. Those are their GC guys, and they're weak. 78, 75. We could beat them hands down most races. They're going to struggle at the back of the top 10. Degenkolb, classics, a little bit on sprint. None of their guys are great sprinters. So we should be able to beat them pretty regularly. Sepp Van Mark, they're built like a classics team and a second tier GC team. They do have some punchers, a lot of 70s. They'll compete a little bit, but I think EF will not put up much of a fight. Okay, so Team Emirates. Emirates now. Niels Pollitt, their leader, classics rider. Ciccone, a little bit of a do-it-all, but an 82 Barador, so he's breakaway stage winner. And we certainly saw that. Did he not win the KOM in my stage racer series here recently? I think he did. Bakumalama, another one who's kind of that mixed bag. Do it here, do it there. Little punchy, little climbing, little breakaway stuff. Good resistance, stamina for long stages, but not really gonna earn you too many victories or certainly compete in GC. And at 34, he's gonna drop off. Ryan Mullen, time trial extraordinaire. Tunison, their last guy at 75. So Emirates aren't going to put up too much of a fight other than Niels Pollitt. They've got a little bit here and there support-wise, and they'll do okay in a lot of continental races, but World Tour races, I don't think they'll put up too much of a fight. Groupama FTJ, Carapaz Demar are the leaders, so you've got one excellent climber there and one excellent sprinter, but also Roglic, so another really good climber, and Thibaut Pinot. So Groupama FTJ have three excellent climbers. One of them and Roglic are really good at time trials, so they can compete. If Roglic was supported by Carapaz and Pinot at a race like the Tour de France, Roglic absolutely can compete for the podium. So you got to figure Groupama FTJ with that trio. That'll be their main focus in big races. Then you've got Demar and Soro, at least two good sprinters. They won't get a ton of wins like that, but Demar has enough pace that at least with that bit of support, he should be able to do good things. Then it kind of drops off from there. I mean, you got Millard, who's mixed bag, breakaway guy. But GC, gotta watch out for them in GC. Liquigas, back in the World Tour peloton. Peter Sagan is their leader. Classics, first and foremost, occasionally in the sprint itself. Sorry about that banging. Got stuff going on in daycare right now. Not sure what they're up to. Maybe dancing. Anyway, Mikkel Berg. Bjerg is definitely a time trialist, and turns out he is real world. Thanks for the heads up on that. And Björk, youth champion for the time trial, now at 22 here in game. Man, oh man. But that's it, right? He's got nothing else. He's just fantastic in the time trial. So he'll win individual stages, but he won't be competitive otherwise. Vinjebo? Vinjebo. Punchy. So we've got guys that could take some individual stages, and that's all that Liquid Gas has. Lotto Sidal, Caleb Ewan, of course the sprinter, great acceleration, a little bit of punch. I think he should be a little higher there. I would give Caleb Ewan about a 73, 74 personally in the hills. Campen Arts, 78. Big drop off from there. Björk Lambrecht still in game. The late Björk Lambrecht, punchy climber for him. Campen Arts, of course, time trial. So not much of a threat from Lotto Soudal. Mitchelton Scott. We've got Hugh Carthy, Mohoric, Matteo Trentin, and some 75s. Decent climbers, but not quite enough to pull off any wins. This is like second-tier guys that are going to be in the top 10s. They've got the same and quite a bit of punch, a lot of mid-upper 70s. Trentin will do well in the classics and lead there, but he won't get wins. Same in the sprint. So another team that will put up a fight and will show up from time to time, but Mitchelton Scott should not be grabbing too many wins this season. Mikel Landa, Nairo Quintana, and Mark Soler, the three team leaders. Kruiswijk, the backup. Movistar is still GC, but not totally dominant at all. They are very much built as a GC team. Time trial wise, Soler is okay, but the rest aren't, and Soler is probably that third guy. I mean, you figure they're gonna pick Landa and Quintana before him as team leader, especially when he's not great in the time trial himself. So they're going to be GC in non-time trial races, most likely, unless Soler is there. But again, he's, I don't know, that time trial is going to be a little weak. The stamina is a little weak. He's going to struggle to get too many, or to contend too well. So Movistar, kind of weak, aren't they? Kind of weak. I mean, they still have Valverde, but Valverde's down to a 72. He's still got the punch. He could still do well in certain classics, Liège, Bastogne Liège. He'll still compete, still get in the top 10. But at 40, he's really just a sport rider. They got a lot of guys in their 30s. Movistar looking pretty weak. Sky back in the peloton. Of course, it's Ineos returning to their original sponsor. And Egan Bernal is the leader, so of course that is GC, but they don't have him great on the time trial, which he isn't great on the time trial, but I just don't think he is that bad. What he did in the Tour de France, anyway, suggests that he would be a bit better than where he is currently sitting at. So, Asgreen in support. He's going to give you more of the classics and time trial, but he is very much mixed. He can offer a lot of good support. Kwiatkowski, again, fantastic support across the board. He does so many things. Absolutely one of my favorite riders in the peloton. Really your jack of all trades. Sidakov, Sosa, Thomas, Froome, all 80 mountain readings. They are still built for GC. Gegenhardt, 81, even though he's only a 76 overall. That is a team that is crazy dangerous, but are they going to get too many wins GC-wise? I mean, these guys are so stacked, all the way down to Castro Viejo, 75 and above, Luke Rowe, 74 and above. Tons of talent. But Bernal is the best they've got. A little surprised by that. They're not going to take too many wins, but they're going to be there or thereabouts in every single GC race that we see. Jumbo-Visma. Ooh. Low-budget team that does fantastic in real life and have really pulled it together. In game, though, looks like that budget has gotten the best of them. Coom. There you go. There's their man. 3 better than anybody else. And he's a time trialist. And a bit of a classics guy. Christophe Laporte, the next best they have, sprinter. And a good one, but not fantastic. He's kind of split with a lot of other decent ratings. George Bennett has not developed quite as you would think as what he's done in recent years in real life. You'd think he'd be a slightly better rated rider than this. Lawrence DePlus, Timo Rusin, not much of a threat here. Jumbo-Visma, Katusha Alpazin, Bob Jungels, and then how are they in the World Tour? Bob Jungels got them in the World Tour. One rider, right? Their next best is a 75. How are they still here? I think they were the last team, actually, to qualify for the World Tour. But one classics rider, that's all they've got. Sunweb. Here's another one. Wow, okay, Dumoulin is going to struggle. Holy cow, look at that. He is Mr. Solo. Kelderman, Uman. That's all he's got for help, for support. Built for GC, but without, right? I mean, if they take Dumoulin, Kelderman, Uman, and Kamna and put them all together in every major race, Dumoulin can't compete. But if they're missing 2 of those guys, if he has just one of them with him in any race, he'll struggle. He'll get to that end, and without that team support, he won't do terribly well. So Sunweb, apparently, to keep Dumoulin, has just eaten all of their budget, and they've got nothing left for anybody else. UAE, Team Emirates. Yeah, 2 Emirates in the field. Their leader now, Ito, who we really just saw for the first time, right? Didn't he just take stage 2? Sprinter. Not amazing, though. He's just good. And Christoph. So this is a sprint team. And there you go. Pogacar, Dan Martin, they're going to be more breakaway guys, but Pogacar is a 62 Barre d'Or, so he's not going to go in the break. So a little punchy, right? They got 2 77s and a 78 in the hill ratings, but they're not going to put up much of a fight. And that's it. That's the teams. We do have a few really good teams to watch out for. Bahrain Merida looked like one of the best out there. Bora Hansgrohe, of course, really good in sprint. Astana, very much need to watch out for. And Sky will always be up there and competitive. And Dumoulin, but not the team. There isn't much else. Duquesne Quickstep is not going to be great. EF are terrible. A lot of teams are just mediocre. Movie Star. Oh, I like it. This is good for us. All right, well, that was relatively lengthy. We are on stage 3 now, the Santos Tour Down Under. It's a sprint stage, and there's it's not flat. It undulates a lot, so there's a good chance that some of these sprinters will not be here at the end, but we do have some sprinters with us, so let's see if we can set these guys up. Riding on this little loopy course, we're at the top of one of the hills right now. The breakaway was just reeled in. We've got 40 kilometers still to go, so a long ways to go in this stage. We come in and out of this tiny little town, and then we turn out of it, and we're going to go up again. So there's a lot of undulation here. I mean, this is 8.5%. Just a little while ago, as we were reeling in the breakaway group, a lot of the riders were down to the last little bit of their energy, which explains why we're down to 118 in the peloton, and there's a number of riders that are off the back. This up, down, as we weave in and out of these roads and in and out of this little town, this little village, is really setting us up. And I think when the pace picks back up here, which will likely happen here pretty soon, it's 35K to go, a lot of sprinters may not be left in the peloton by the time we get there. And here goes that pace again. Everybody's blinking red on an 88. The downhill sections aren't enough to really provide a breather. They're too short. It lowers the heart rate a little bit. You go from, the high 170s where they are right now. As we hit, there's the highest point. You can see it's going to come down a little bit. At the moment, just 23 in the peloton. I think it's going to come back together, though. 93 riders, anyway, will come back on. I have not made contact yet, though. 33 in the peloton currently. You can see their heart rates, it drops to the 150s, but it's not getting down to the 140s. It's not getting down to the recovery point. It's just, you get a quick breather is all, but not enough to actually get in a better position. And it's more and more starting to look like the 29 at the front are it. Garfield has been dropped from that group. So we're going to set him to auto. And this group behind, Brian, Gaudry, Garrison, looks like they are probably there to stay. And this really changes the race with just 29 up here. Philipsen's hanging on. Mather is nearly done. And then you've got Gottwald. Gottwald is our hope for the overall, even though Philipsen does lead currently. But I have a feeling that later on, these guys just aren't going to hang in there. And Philipsen, come on, dude. 6 and 18 now. Gottwald's in the group of 16. We got a little split here. Philipsen hanging on to the chase group. And his man, Mather, is now done. So Philipsen, there we go. It's back together. 23 riders. I think I need to use Philipsen to protect Gottwald over these final 13 kilometers, because later on it is Gottwald who we're going to need at Wollonga Hill, and Philipsen's just not going to make it. So while today I could potentially compete for a stage victory for Philipsen and extend his lead, honestly, I think the smarter move is to go for the GC with Gottwald. We've already got stage wins with Philipsen, so 9.8k to go, down to 22 in the group. It's still thinning, and definitely the ones behind us are not coming back. In fact, my entire team are in the same group. And let's go ahead and set all of them to auto. They can do their thing. And there we go, 7.5k to go. Here's the profile of what's left. We've got this lengthy straight up climb, and then we've got a little double climb, and then the finish. So this appears to be the last circuit, and we're getting another attempt at a breakaway from Simon Yates. Simon Yates trying to go for it. How is Gottwald? Gottwald's doing relatively well. Let's up his pace, and Philipsen will continue to protect, and there we go. Finyebo, Wellens, Nassen chasing, Lutsenko chasing. We're into the last 5K. And Gottwald and Philipsen have some separation. They have some separation. Philipsen this time is done. We already caught Yates, but here's that last little climb, 2.8k. We're going to attack this, and we've got some separation now. It's 2k to go, though. We go over the top. It's downhill, and we're just going to go full 99 from here. 1k to go to the finish. Do we have a chance to get the victory? No, we're not. Schachmann and Yates have come back at us. They're going to take the win, but Yates gets it. Schachmann, and there we are in third place with separation over the rest of the field. So time gains are happening today. This is good for us. There's Ito, Schachmann, Philipsen not far behind in the group of 16 chasing. He'll lose a little bit of time, but he's actually still in a decent place for the overall. Interesting race. This was profiled as a sprint stage, but I just knew looking at it, the undulation, it would get to us eventually. They were short climbs, but they were steep enough that hitting it a couple times makes no difference to the sprinters, but hitting it repeatedly over and over and over again all race long would have a long-term effect, especially late in this stage like it did, where the pace got pretty hot. Nearly came away with a victory for Gottwald. It would have been his career first, but he's in a good position at this point, right there in the top three. Very curious to see what the times are after that. Okay, no time gaps. Simon Yates, Schachmann, Gottwald, 1, 2, 3. Philipsen on same time keeps him in the leader's jersey. Wow, they put that whole sprint stage. Remember? Sprint stage. So even though they're all spread out, minute and a half apart, it's a sprint stage. Man, oh man, this game sometimes, right? Philipsen has no business being in that jersey anymore. Simon Yates should be in the jersey right now. Hands down. No doubt about it. We don't belong in it. But this game, it does it. Sometimes it giveth, sometimes it taketh away. The giveth doesn't happen very often. There is not much give to this game. Usually it's take. Today, it gave. But it also took, didn't it? Gottwald was in third place. Gottwald has had a chance to be in third place in this race right now. And like I said, with Wollonga Hill coming, Philipsen's not going to win this race. He will lose time on Wollonga Hill. So Gottwald I cared more about. I'd rather have Gottwald in third behind Yates and Schachmann right now than have him 9 seconds down in 7th place. That extra second he picked up on stage 1, though, starting to matter a little bit more. He's +5 over the bulk of the field now. Speaking of bulk of the field, what's that down to? 20 riders. 20 riders left in contention for this. And quite a few of these are sprinters. Ito, Colbrelli, Ackerman, Philipsen, of course. DeMar. Those 5, they won't be in it later. Just about the rest of these guys are all contenders for the race, though. In fact, I'd say all of them, minus those 5. So 15 riders left in contention. Gottwald among them, and in a decent position. Yates, I think he might win the overall. Still not a bad result. Top 3 on the stage, keeping the leader's jersey for now. It works out for us. We head into stage 4. This one punchy, and I'd say this is way less punchy than that last stage. I think, well, let's see how bad the climb is though. 2.7k, 7.7%, max is 12. I think we could get Philipsen over the top of that, and then downhill sprint finish and win the stage. I think we can get Gottwald right there with him for a top 10 finish. I think most of the rest of the team will end up getting dropped, but I think we absolutely can get those guys over the top. Here on stage number 4, as we approach the end, I figure the profile is going to be very different this time than what it's been over the previous stages. We've got this one punchy climb and then a downhill finish. The downhill, though, is not great. It's not good for recovery, but you're going to have to attack the downhill, so you have to have energy left. The focus is going to be on the combination of Gottwald and Philipsen. Of course, Gottwald maintaining the position overall. He's the better puncher, though, so he's got the best chance of getting us over that climb quickly. And Philipsen, I think, still has a chance to win the stage today. So I focus mostly on Gottwald to make sure we have that overall, but I'm going to put Philipsen behind him and hope that he can pull Philipsen over the top, and then Philipsen could then go on to win the stage, potentially. Now, in the meantime, on this stage, we only had a single breakaway rider in Yasha Sudolin, who's the KOM leader. One rider, 2 sprint points with time bonuses. So second and third place were available on both. I went for both. So did Case Bull for Sunweb. So I did have some competition for it. He is in competition for the points classification as we get close here, and I think I need to set myself up for what we're going to do with this. Let's go ahead and bring that around. Pause here. 5.8 to the top of the climb. So wrapping this up real quick, what happened on those 2 sprint points? The first sprint point, we got the jump and got out ahead. So what I did was I had a mini train. I had Brian, and then I had Philipson, and then I had Gottwald. I knew I was going to have some competition, so I couldn't rely too heavily on Gottwald trying to grab the seconds. But we got the jump. Brian got us out ahead far enough before Case Bull got his sprint going that Philipson was able to easily take second, and Gottwald just took third ahead of Case Bull, just trying to hang on to Philipson's wheel as close as he could, which he had lost, but at least was far enough ahead to get 1 second. So we got 1 more second for Gottwald, 2 for Philipson. Second time, sprint point. This time, I went to go at the same time. Case Bull went much earlier. And he had the jump on us. He was ahead of Miguel Bryan even. Bryan's sprint was enough to keep position on Case Bull. He didn't lose ground to him. But then by the time I sent Philipson, Philipson was able to then out-sprint Case Bull. So Philipson again, 2 seconds. Gottwald, no chance. No chance. He had already been lagging behind a little bit, and he was well clear of Miguel Bryan, but he was 4th across the line. Case Bull was 3rd, so no time bonus this time. So Philipson gains 4 seconds. Gottwald got 1 second out of those 2. So it did work out for us, and you can see now it didn't cost us anything in energy. It did Brian a bit. You can see Brian's a little bit tired, but otherwise everybody else is just fine. So 13K to go, 5.8 to the top of the climb, then an 8K descent, but it's not a very steep descent. So we've got to have some energy for that, but we're also going to have to attack that. Let's set ourselves up. So I want Philipson following Gottwald. Gottwald's the main rider we're going to ride for. Then my climbers, Garfield, Mather. Not much support for Gottwald. Not much. But we'll give them what we can. And then from there, it's either Gaudry, Garrison, or Brian. And it's clear that Garrison's going to hang on a bit better than the other 2. So we need to use Gaudry and Brian early. Gaudry's got a little bit of punch, so we'll use Brian now on the flat. And he's the most tired anyway. But let's go ahead and do both of their gels, and then Brian needs to move out front now. So we're going to try to attack this from a front position. Try to stay near the front. I'm not necessarily trying to attack over the climb to where we're all alone, but to make sure that nobody else is able to do that to us. The best way to do that, attack can often be the best defense. So Brian, there we go, to the front. We'll go a 95 for him. We'll go a 99 for him. He's got nothing to lose. 2K to go to the top. In fact, Brian, give me your sprint, because here comes the other teams. Okay, Gaudry now. Brian's done. Okay, Gaudry's not much of a climber, but we're 1K from the top and hanging on just fine. He's not doing any damage behind him, necessarily anyway. Garrison, Garfield, Mather. Let's use all of your gels. And Gaudry hanging on pretty well. Now we're going to start getting into guys that are a little bit quicker in Garrison. Gaudry actually hanging on quite well to his position. And actually, I might be able to use Gaudry in the sprint later on if he's not dropped. So I'm going to put you behind. Garrison is done and forgot to tell me. Okay, so we're hanging on. Fulsong, Ciccone trying to get away. They do have a small gap as Garfield. Sprint one more time here. You're over the top. Okay, downhill to the finish. Get these guys ready. Garfield is attacking it. His downhill is pretty decent, so he should help get us down there. 5K to go. There you go. He's attacking whatever he's got. Let's make sure we're here, because I see Mather close. Gottwald a little bit further behind. There's Philipsen. And Philipsen has that ultimate pace. Gaudry, the last one there, and then the gap opens Garrison. Try to get back up there if you can. Downhill, Mather's got good downhill. Gottwald has good downhill. Philipsen has good enough downhill. Now it's just catching these two, and that's going to be difficult on the downhill. So Garfield, we got to make sure that he stays on sprint, and there goes the last of his sprint. So now we go on to Mather, full sprint. We are in a good position, but we're also in a dangerous spot here. There we go. Okay, just over 1K to go. Gap is 12 seconds. 1.6K. I'm going to get Gottwald sprinting now. 1K to go. That's full sprint. Philipsen. Mr. Speedy. Go, go, go. Okay, we're going to catch those guys. But we're not. Ackerman just beats Philipsen to the line. So no time bonus. Ciccone, Fulsong at the top. They might have 4 seconds. But I think we're close enough together that those first 25 riders should all be there. Brian, the only one dropped from the group. Otherwise, really good showing. 6 of 25 riders at the front of the field, or 27 maybe. Yeah, 27 because we caught the 2 guys. So that put us all together. So 6 of 27 riders are ours. 21 from all other teams is a good showing. Unfortunate that Ackerman beats Philipsen by half a wheel. He was coming from a little far back. I knew that downhill would not be that straight cut of downhill, but it would be really hard with that downhill to make any progress, and that was absolutely the case. Even to the finish line was still a bit downhill. Philipsen had barely used any energy, but was barely able to increase his speed enough. I probably should have started sprinting him at like 3K out or something. Same time, okay. And then gap after top 27. So here's how it looks now. Philipsen gains 4 seconds? 3 seconds? Was it 3? I thought it was 4. He's now 7 seconds ahead of Ackerman, Ito, Yates, Ciccone. That's the danger zone, right? Ciccone, Yates. Then Gottwald at 11 seconds back with Colbrelli, Schachmann, Fulsong. He gained 1 second to get up equal with these guys. Then Damar. And then the main group at 17, which is thinning out, isn't it? We're down to 18 riders overall. And among sprinters, what sprinters are still here? Damar, Schachmann. Not Schachmann. Schachmann's not a sprinter. Damar, Colbrelli, Ito, Ackerman, Philipsen. So all 5 are still here. That leaves us with 13 contenders. Bilbao, Asgreen looks to be the 2 that lost time here. Points classification. Ackerman leads by 3 points over Philipsen. There's Tamar, Ito, all right there. The guy who was going for those points earlier, Case Bowl, he's only got 17. I think he was just there to disrupt. But Sunweb doesn't have anybody up here. It's a little odd that he went for those points. We're in a good position. pace of these first 2 episodes for the new season, obviously a little slow, but there was so much to go over for the new season that has slowed us down a little bit. Next episode, we will definitely pick up the pace. Not only will we finish the Santos Tour Down Under, but we should get through Cadel Evans. We should get through, well, San Juan I'll probably do off camera. Mallorca I might do off camera. This season, a lot of the races are going to come down to World Tour races, and even then, a number of those may be skipped in order to make progress through the season and not have it take 80 episodes for a single season. So at this point, it's still very, very early days, but as a team, we currently lead World Tour rankings in the first race of the year and lead the Super Prestige. But again, it's very, very early days. 121 points, so far. And that's going to do it for this episode on Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.